welcome. You're watching Your Stocks. I'm Samira Abdi. With me is Reema Tendulkar. For the markets, we're inching closer once again to that 6,700 mark. We're in fact just about 5 odd points away from there at the moment. So we've, through the session actually, we've been trending mostly in about a 25-30 point odd range. And right now we're just off of the lows at the moment, but closer to 6,700, down about a half odd percent. A lot of these heavyweights, are under pressure. So it's not so much that the market breadth is very bad, but it's just that a lot of these heavies are under pressure and they're actually causing this negative trend that we're seeing. Hi, Reema.
Hi. Well, indeed, that's the update, but at least in the broader markets, you can see some activity, and the mid-caps have actually outperformed this entire week. So the mid-cap index has rallied close to about 8.5%, and even for the day, you've got the advanced decline ratio, which is currently in favor of the gaining side. 3 stocks in the green for 2 on the losing side. Global cues so far are flat but holding with a positive bias. So you've got the CAC, which is high, CAC, DAX, and the FTSE higher by close to about 0.25% for the European indices. But let's introduce the guests that we've lined up for you on the show. We've got Pankaj Jain as well as Roongta to answer all the stock as well as the personal finance queries. Good afternoon, gentlemen, and thanks so much for joining us. Our first caller is Hemlata Sinha. She's called us from Pune. Hi, Hemlata.
Hi.
How can we help you?
Actually I'm holding 150 shares of HALE, which I had bought for 163 per share.
Okay.
So is it the right time to sell it or shall I hold it?
Okay. Pankaj, she's making some money on BHEL. This stock has underperformed this entire week. It's down close to about 9%. Should she just be, booking her gains ahead of the weekend, or this is a stock she needs to stay invested in?
Afternoon to all. I think HALE is almost fully priced. If we keep the momentum which is there in the market aside and talk about the fundamentals and technicals of the stock, I think stock has already rallied from levels closer to 110 to levels closer to 200, almost 90-100% kind of gains from its August lows. And if the person is making about 20-25 bucks on her investment, I think it could be a right kind of profit booking at 15-16 multiple, and stock is almost incorporating most of the potential things to come. Even if stable government comes into power and we have capital expenditure kind of thing, I think stock is fully valued. So taking that into consideration, it won't be a bad idea to come out of the stock to book the profits and take your money somewhere else.
All right, that's the word coming in on BHEL, Hemlata, that perhaps it's a good time actually to book your profits on BHEL. But we have another caller who's waiting by, and it's Rekha Patel who's on the line with us from Madurai. Hi Rekha, how can we help you?
Hi.
Hi.
I need to know, I am earning a 5 lakh package per year.
Okay.
And I want to start long-term investment. So a friend of mine has suggested SBI mutual fund. So I just wanted to know whether this is the right investment or is there any other good option?
How much money are you looking to invest?
Around 10,000 rupees per month.
Okay, and for what duration are you looking to invest this?
I'm looking for a long-term investment. I mean,
Okay, so you want to invest it and forget about it?
Yeah, I mean at least 10-15 years.
All right, okay. So Harsh, it's pretty much an open slate. She wants to invest 10,000 rupees a month. Someone has suggested perhaps one of the SBI mutual funds, but it's an open slate. I'm sure she's open to whatever you suggest.
So I think Rekha, SBI mutual fund by itself is not an investment. There are specific schemes that they have which you need to look at. But even before you look at any scheme, I think the key is how should you invest. And I think investing based on your goals is very, very critical. So decide why you want to invest. You said 10 or 15 years. What is it after 10 or 15 years that you are looking at? Is this a retirement kitty that you are looking at? Is this for your children? If you do that kind of a goal setting, it will be easier for you to make sure that you continue on this investment pattern. Clearly, since it's long term and assuming that you can take a fair amount of risk, you can go as much as about 90% in equity and maybe a 10% in debt or gold, and given the amount, I would say pick a large cap mutual fund for this 90% portion. So out of 10,000, put about 9,000 in, I would say, a single large cap scheme, or maybe 5,000 in a large cap scheme and 4,000 or 6,000 in a large cap scheme and 3,000 in a mid cap kind of a scheme, and 1,000 rupees you could probably put it in a PPF account, because you are anyway talking of a 15-year time horizon. If SBI is something that you want to do, that 3,000 portion for mid cap you could use for SBI Emerging Business Fund. For the large cap fund, I would suggest that you do either of ICICI Proof Focus Blue Chip or UTI Opportunities. But before you do all this, as I said, if you do your goal planning, I think that will really be much better, because the chances that you will continue with the investment. Please remember, in the long run the SIP gives you a great return, but intermediately during the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th years you might see negative returns or very low returns, and please don't stop the SIP at that point of time. This isn't a fixed deposit, it isn't going to give you a steady return. You have to stay invested and continue investing to get really good returns, and that period is at least 10 years. So I think keep that in mind. I think it will hold you in good stead.
Okay, Rekha, that's the advice for you. Continue to stay invested even when at times it appears like a troubled investment. Up next, we have an SMS query. Niyati Shukla has written to us. She wants to know the near-term target for Shobha Developers. Pankaj, while they haven't met their FY14 guidance, at least Q4, the operational details that they have indicated, there has been a significant 20% growth on a sequential basis. So that, presents a brighter picture for FY14. Do you think, a good stock price, perhaps good gains are in store for Shobha Developers in the near term?
It could be, I think. There are 3-4 factors. See, basically, we are having positive momentum in the market. Money is flowing into real estate stocks. And Shobha is definitely one of the better ones. Their cream projects are in Bangalore. Out there, they have their niche projects. They command premium in Bangalore market. And recent commentary by the company management, they sound pretty optimistic about financial year 15. And one of their sluggish sales region has been NCR. They have a big project in Gurgaon, and that has not been contributing good sales in last 3 to 6 months, but I think that should pick up. Say, taking overall consideration into consideration, I think Shobha should improve. The stock has already rallied from 250, 260 levels to about 370, 380, and I believe stock has serious potential to go to levels closer to 440s, 445s in next 3 to 6 months kind of thing. So I believe the momentum is back into real estate stocks, Shobha being one of the better stocks, and technically stock looks poised to move up, and even management is pretty optimistic. So I think she should hold on to the stock, and could definitely expect another 10 to 15% rise in next few months.
Alright, also some news flow coming in on Suzlon. They are set to be seeking a 600 million euro in terms of the IPO of their German unit Senvion. Anyway, that stock is such a penny stock now, but up nearly 3%. But let's take a quick break. On that note, we'll be back in just a bit. But do remember that if you want any more stock-specific advice or details on any of the news that we've reported on CNBC TV 18, you can always log on to moneycontrol.com. We'll be back in a bit with lots more stocks that are passing. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Some pressure is now visible in the markets. In fact, just as we speak, the Nifty has dipped below the 6,700 mark, and there is some pressure which is arising in names like a JSPL. That stock has suddenly lost close to about 1% in the last 10 minutes of trade, and more or less giving up all the gains that it had seen. Cesar Sterlite is the other stock where you can see some pressure. Other key banking stocks which have lost some ground as we speak. You've got an Axis Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank, Bank of Baroda. These are few names which are sensing some weakness, and that's reflecting in the Bank Nifty as well. Apart from that, cement also is selling off a bit, so it's giving up its gains basically. So an ACC has now trimmed some of its gains. Ambuja Cement consequently has deepened its loss. Ambuja Cement is now down closer to 1.2%, and that's resulting in the Nifty being well below that 6,700 mark, so virtually at the low point of the day. Isha Mishra is our next caller. She's called us from Mumbai. Hi Isha.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, my question is that is it the right time to invest in Adani Power?
Okay. What would your time horizon be, Isha?
Maybe 2 years.
Okay. Pankaj, if someone has a 2-year time horizon, would you recommend Adani Power in particular, or do you think there are other stocks she should consider?
I think at the current price of about 54, 55, Adani Power is more of a momentum and trading play, and could also be a kind of political play, because there are reports that Adani is also moving because of expected expected party which could come into power. But taking all that into background, I think today Adani announced they have commissioned 660 megawatt power plant in Tiroda, Maharashtra, and after that they become the largest private sector power producer. They have installed capacity of closer to 9,000 megawatt and commissioned capacity of closer to 5,500 megawatt. So taking all that into background, taking all that into consideration, stock has already rallied from levels closer to 30, 31 to about 55 now. Maybe taking momentum and the kind of money that is flowing into Adani stock could rally up to say 61, 62, 62, 65 is a very serious resistance zone, and it may not be the right investment bet for next 1 to 2 years. It could be a good trading bet. So I would sort of resist in investing in Adani at current valuation, at current price, and I believe there are much safer and better stocks to stay invested even at current levels of Nifty closer to 6,700.
Alright, that's the word on Adani Power, and as we speak the markets continue to slip even further, reaching levels of 66.85 actually. From the lows, it's still sitting over there, but a lot of these stocks are losing ground, so we'll keep an eye out on that as well. In the meantime, let's also get another query. Kavita Menon has written to us from Bangalore. She wants to start an SIP with an amount of about 1,000 rupees a month and would like to know the best available option. Alright, so SIP basically, Kavita, there isn't an option, it is just a systematic investment plan, but Harsh over here I'm sure will be able to guide you about which is the best fund that she could employ her SIP.
So I think what I love about this question, and a lot of that has to do with the kind of programs and literacy that is coming, is that you have students now looking to invest, and I think that augurs well, as long as they do it right. And systematic investment, be it a mutual fund, an equity mutual fund or something else, a systematic investment is always good. I think as far as Kavita is concerned, I think the key is, if you are wanting equity, and I think that's what she is wanting, one thing that she has to decide is how long is she going to be able to continue that investment, because there would be gaps in her earning or pocket money from wherever this SIP is coming. If she is reasonably sure that it will come, and this is great practice for the future, I think a good large cap fund is good. Any good large cap fund, ICICI Proof Focus Blue Chip, you can have UTI Opportunities Fund. This is practice for the future. So as they say, earlier the better, later.
The magic of compounding.
Okay, let's shift focus then. We've got another query. It's Malti Rao has written to us, and she wants to know if it is the right time to invest into Edelweiss. That stock was at least early in the morning in focus after RBI allowed a hike in the FI investment limit to 28%. So that stock had actually started higher earlier in the day. But Pankaj, is Edelweiss Financial Services the stock that you would recommend? If someone has to get in at current levels.
And I expect Yeah, I think it's a decent bet, taking into consideration that the financial markets, capital markets are looking up, and somehow I believe that with stable government in offing, financial markets could have a good time all round 2014, and Edelweiss is definitely one of the larger player in this market. That banking license thing is out. Edelweiss was never a strong player. Stock has been hovering between this 27 to 32, 33 kind of zone. But I think it has potential to climb, go beyond that zone and go to levels closer to 36 to then 39, say next 1 year kind of thing. So all in all, it's a good potential stock for next 6 to 9 months, and if she has identified this particular stock, I won't discourage her. Maybe she could go ahead and buy into this stock.
All right, on that optimistic note, we'll take another quick break, come back in a bit. There's more to discuss on the other side. Stay with us. Welcome back. So it's still weak for the markets, down nearly 0.6% on the Nifty at the moment. Likewise for the Sensex, and the mid-cap index, which was trending in the green earlier, has also now moved into the red. So the market's virtually now at the low point of trade. But let's get in some viewers who'd like to have some queries answered. Ranbaxy is one stock actually which has been sitting at the top of the leaderboard on the Nifty. It's up nearly 8% and for this week the stock has seen a 26% rally. So Bhakti has called us from Mumbai with a query. Hi Bhakti.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. What's your question?
Ma'am, I just wanted to know that I would like to invest in Ranbaxy. So is it a good option right now in the pharma sector?
Okay, and any particular reason you've zeroed in on Ranbaxy?
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it, that it's a good, good option to invest in. I mean, it's profit-making company, maybe that's why.
Really? Okay. Pankaj, Bhakti would like to know if Ranbaxy is the best choice in the pharma sector currently for her to invest in, given the fact that this month itself the rally has been quite healthy. If the advice is so, should she wait for a dip?
Yes, Sumira, I think Bhakti is about 3-4 days late. The kind of rally we have seen in Ranbaxy in last 3-4 trading days along with Vocard, I think it has been tremendous. And for last 3-4 weeks rather, the buzz is there in the market that something positive, some kind of positive announcement could happen with respect to plants which have been sort of, FDA has put a ban on 4 plants of Ranbaxy. And the kind of volume, the kind of run-up we have seen in last 3-4 days has been tremendous, and that followed one soft comment from US FDA that they don't have any quality issues, they don't find anything amiss with respect to generic drugs coming out from India. I think that was the triggering point for last 2 days, the kind of rally we have seen. Ranbaxy, I think the potential for Ranbaxy is strong, though the stock has not been doing well for last 2 years and the patterns have been pretty erratic. But even if we take the kind of volumes, the kind of market they have in domestic market, the share commands about 250 to 300 rupees valuation from that kind of thing. So I think at any levels between 350 to 400 could be a decent long-term bet. So maybe the stock could cool down in coming days, coming weeks. So she should wait for a while. Ranbaxy is a good identified stock. She should wait for a while, and at levels closer to say somewhere between 350 and 400 she could enter Ranbaxy and give that stock about 1 to 1.5 years. I expect Ranbaxy to give very serious returns from levels closer to 400.
Okay. Well, that's the advice for you coming through on Ranbaxy. Running out of time, quickly let's try and squeeze in one more question. Anita Singh has written to us. She needs advice on building a retirement corpus, and she would like to know if it is wise to invest in more than one mutual fund for a diversified portfolio. So Harsh, we do not know what her goals are, how much she's looking to raise, but what would you recommend? Is one portfolio good enough? I mean, one mutual fund, or perhaps she should be a little more diversified and pick up 2-3?
So I think this requirement for hedging, that if one doesn't do well, the other will. If you invest in the same kind of mutual fund, I think the hedging is unlikely to really be available. If she really wants to hedge, one debt fund, one equity fund, because if she chooses 2 large cap funds, they're like, unless one of them is badly managed, okay, unlikely to have very, very different returns in the short term. A bigger thing for her is to make sure that she looks at these performances over a period of time. She's talking retirement corpus. And when she's looking at the fund performance, it is in relation to the index. If the index has a loss, any fund which is having that index as a benchmark is likely to have a loss. So if loss is the criteria for hedging, then she should be putting it in a debt fund and not really in another equity fund. So I think understanding what she wants to hedge against is the real key.
All right, Anita. We hope you were listening. That's the advice for you. Do keep your eye out on the markets as we get ready to wrap up on your stocks. Once again, it could be making its way towards that 6,700 mark. But watch for stocks like Maruti, which has lost about 0.7% in the last few minutes odd. And like Rima was mentioning, some of these banks like Axis, Bank of Baroda, etc. have lost over 0.5%. But one stock that you must watch out for is Yes Bank. That stock is currently at the high point of trade right now, and that stock has moved up actually in just the last few minutes odd. But we'll thank both our guests. Harsh, thanks for coming in to our studio this afternoon. Pankaj, thanks much for advising all of our viewers. We'll wrap up on your stocks, but here is our closing bell money control question of the day. Can India beat South Africa in today's T20 semi-finals? Log on to moneycontrol.com. You don't have a lot of time. Post your opinions there. The best responses will be read out in closing bell post 3:30 this afternoon. That's all from us. Do stay tuned and remember to keep sending us your stock queries. Log on to moneycontrol.com. You can also send us your query by posting it on the Money Control message board. From Rima and myself and the entire team, thanks for watching.